In the early light of a crisp autumn morning, when the mist still hovered delicately over the forest floor and the first rays of sunlight pierced through the canopy of vibrant, turning leaves, Daniel set out on his routine hike. A seasoned hiker with a quiet love for nature, Daniel cherished these solitary adventures in the vast, untouched expanses of the state park. For him, the forest was not merely a collection of trees and trails, it was a sanctuary. A place to clear his mind and reconnect with the rhythms of the natural world. Accompanying him on these journeys was his loyal companion, Apollo, a strong, intuitive pitbull with a coat of deep, rich mahogany and eyes that glowed with empathy and alertness. Apollo had been with Daniel for many years, and their bond had grown through countless shared moments on winding trails, quiet glades, and peaceful campgrounds. The dog's presence had always provided Daniel with both comfort and protection. A steadfast reminder that he was never truly alone. On this particular day, the forest was resplendent with the hues of early fall. Vivid oranges, fiery reds, and golden yellows painted the landscape, while the gentle murmur of a nearby creek provided a soothing symphony in the background. Daniel trod along a well-worn trail, his steps measured and confident as he absorbed the beauty and tranquility that only nature could provide. Apollo, ever the vigilant guardian, kept pace by his side, his tail occasionally giving a quiet wag as he sniffed the crisp air and scanned the surroundings with keen interest. Their journey was a harmonious blend of man and dog, each step in sync with the other, each pause filled with unspoken understanding. As the morning progressed, Daniel's thoughts wandered to memories of past hikes, times when the forest had offered solace during difficult moments, or when Apollo's keen senses had alerted him to subtle changes in the weather. He recalled a time when, during an unexpected downpour, Apollo had instinctively led him to a sheltered nook beneath a massive oak, saving him from a soaking and chilling rain. These recollections, woven with gratitude and fondness, lent his solitary trek an added layer of meaning. It was not just about the physical journey through nature, it was a journey of trust, companionship, and the silent support that Apollo provided through the simple act of being there. However, nature, with all its serene beauty, is also unpredictable. A few hours into the hike, as Daniel navigated a particularly rugged section of the trail near a rocky outcrop, a moment of misfortune changed everything. Distracted by a sudden burst of laughter echoing from a distant clearing, a sound that reminded him of happier times, Daniel's foot slipped on a loose, damp stone hidden among the fallen leaves. In an instant, he lost his balance, the world spun in a blur of motion, and before he could react, his leg buckled beneath him. He tumbled to the ground, the impact jarring and painful. A sharp cry of distress escaped him as he clutched his injured leg, the pain radiating quickly and intensely. The solitude of the forest, which had once offered comfort, now turned ominous as Daniel lay vulnerable on the uneven ground. Apollo, who had been trotting alongside him moments before, instantly sensed that something was terribly wrong. In the quiet that followed the fall, the dog's behavior changed dramatically. His ears perked up, and his eyes, normally filled with calm curiosity, flared with alarm. Without a moment's hesitation, Apollo rushed to Daniel's side. He circled around his injured owner, whining softly and nudging him with gentle, insistent licks, as if urging Daniel not to give in to the pain and fear. Daniel, overwhelmed by shock and the sudden sting of pain in his leg, managed a weak smile at the sight of Apollo's frantic concern. Yet, he was far from safe. The injury was severe enough that he could not stand, and the isolated stretch of trail offered little in the way of immediate assistance. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Apollo did what he had been instinctively trained to do. With a sudden burst of energy, the pitbull broke away from Daniel and sprinted down the trail, his powerful legs carrying him swiftly through the underbrush. The sound of his urgent barks echoed through the trees, a desperate plea for help that cut through the quiet of the forest. Apollo's determination was unmistakable, a silent vow that his owner would not be left to suffer alone. As Apollo raced along the winding path, he navigated through dappled sunlight and creeping shadows, his focused eyes fixed on the trail ahead. The dog moved with an urgency that belied the calm he had shown on their earlier peaceful hike. His barks grew louder and more insistent as he reached a junction where the trail split. one branch leading deeper into the forest and the other toward a small, frequented campsite where other hikers and, occasionally, park rangers gathered. Apollo, relying on the instincts honed over years of training and companionship, chose the path that led toward the campsite, a route that would surely bring help to his injured owner. In the meantime, Daniel lay on the cool, moss-covered ground, his body trembling with both pain and fear. Alone, vulnerable, and in severe discomfort, he was unaware of the swift action taking place just beyond his reach. The forest around him seemed to pause in a state of hushed expectancy, as if nature itself recognized the importance of the unfolding rescue. Birds that had been hidden in the canopy began to stir, their chirps merging with the rhythmic sound of distant footsteps as Apollo's determined pace grew ever more relentless. Hours later, as the afternoon sun began its slow descent behind the hills, a group of fellow hikers and a vigilant park ranger arrived at the campsite. The sound of Apollo's barks had reached their ears, a steady, urgent call that could not be ignored. The park ranger, a seasoned veteran with an eye for detail, immediately recognized the signs of distress and gathered his team. "There's been an accident on the trail," he explained to the assembled group. "Follow my lead and stay alert." With the group in tow, the ranger retraced the path, guided by the echoing barks and the unmistakable determination of one brave dog. It wasn't long before Apollo, having reached a clearing near the campsite, paused at the base of a large oak tree and looked back. His head tilted as if urging the rescuers onward. The hikers, now fully aware of the urgency, followed his gaze down the trail, their concern mounting with every step. When they finally reached Daniel, they found him seated on a rocky patch, clutching his injured leg and struggling to stay conscious. The sight was heartbreaking. A once vibrant hiker now reduced to a figure of pain and vulnerability. Yet not alone, for Apollo stood watch over him, his barks now soft and comforting. Emergency responders, who arrived promptly after the ranger's call, immediately set to work. They carefully stabilized Daniel, administering first aid and preparing him for transport to a nearby hospital. In that critical moment, the importance of Apollo's actions became abundantly clear. His timely intervention had bridged the gap between a life-threatening injury and the help that was desperately needed. Fellow hikers and the park ranger praised the Pitbull's swift response, remarking that his actions had undoubtedly saved Daniel from further harm. In subsequent interviews with local media, one witness recounted, "I've been hiking these trails for years, but I've never seen anything like it. That dog, Apollo, was a beacon of hope in that dark, uncertain moment. His barks led us to our friend, and his loyalty reminded us of the strength of the human-animal bond." The story spread quickly through the community and beyond, sparking discussions on the importance of staying alert on hiking trails and the critical role that well-trained dogs can play in emergency situations. As Daniel was transported to the hospital, his condition was described as serious but stable. In the quiet, sterile halls of the medical facility, he later expressed deep gratitude for the chain of events that had led to his rescue. "I don't remember much of that fall, but I do remember the sound of Apollo's barks and the sight of my rescuers coming to my aid," Daniel said in a follow-up interview. "I'm forever grateful to that loyal dog, who didn't let me suffer alone in the wilderness." His words resonated with many who had faced similar challenges, reinforcing the notion that even in the remote, untamed corners of nature, compassion and vigilance can bridge the gap between despair and hope. Over the following weeks, the story of Apollo's heroism continued to inspire both the local hiking community and broader audiences. Fellow hikers organized safety seminars, and park rangers emphasized the need for emergency protocols that included the contributions of service animals. Local news outlets featured detailed segments on the incident, interviewing experts in canine behavior who explained how a dog's keen senses and instinctive loyalty could lead to life-saving interventions. Dogs like Apollo are not just pets, they're partners in adventure and safety. One expert commented, "Their ability to detect danger and guide us through treacherous terrain is nothing short of miraculous." In community meetings and online forums, hikers and outdoor enthusiasts shared their own stories of unexpected rescues and the vital importance of having a reliable companion by one's side. The hashtag Apollo the Guardian began to trend, with countless posts celebrating the bond between man and dog. and emphasizing that every adventure in nature carries the potential for both joy and danger. The narrative of that day was woven into the collective memory of the community, a reminder that even when the wilderness proves unforgiving, there is always hope in the form of a devoted friend with 4 legs and a brave heart. As the seasons changed and the forest transformed with the coming of winter, Daniel's recovery continued at a steady pace. With physical therapy and the support of friends and family, he gradually regained strength and mobility. Yet, the memory of that fateful day, when a loyal Pitbull had guided rescuers through the wild, remained a constant source of inspiration. Every time Daniel laced up his hiking boots again, he did so with a renewed sense of gratitude for the resilience of both nature and the human spirit, and for the unbreakable bond he shared with Apollo. Local authorities and park management used the incident as a case study to improve emergency response procedures in the wilderness. They increased the number of patrols on the hiking trails, installed additional emergency call stations, and even initiated training programs for service animals to assist in rescue missions. The story of Apollo's heroic intervention became an educational tool for both new hikers and seasoned veterans of the trails, ensuring that the lessons learned that day would benefit many in the future. In schools throughout the region, educators integrated the tale into lessons on outdoor safety and the importance of preparedness. Students engaged in projects where they designed hypothetical rescue plans for various wilderness scenarios. Inspired by Apollo's decisive actions, these projects not only reinforced the importance of being vigilant but also celebrated the extraordinary capabilities of animals, a lesson in empathy, resilience, and the power of trust. As the narrative continued to ripple through the community, a sense of unity emerged. Neighbors who had once hiked in solitude now organized group excursions, ensuring that no one would be left alone in the vast, sometimes unpredictable wilderness. These outings were filled with shared laughter, cautious steps, and a collective determination to cherish every moment spent in nature, secure in the knowledge that even in moments of crisis, there existed a bond of protection and love, epitomized by a devoted Pitbull who had once risked everything to save a life. In reflective interviews captured by local media, Daniel summed up the impact of that day with quiet conviction. That fall could have ended very differently. But because of Apollo, I was given a second chance. A chance to rediscover my passion for the outdoors and the belief that even in the face of adversity, loyalty and love prevail. His words, resonant and heartfelt, encapsulated the spirit of a story that was much more than an isolated incident. It was a celebration of the incredible, often unexpected, ways in which the human-animal bond can transform lives. The story of Apollo's timely intervention soon spread far beyond the borders of the local park. It became a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in the most challenging of circumstances, the smallest acts of loyalty can create ripples of change. Social media posts, blog entries, and community newsletters all carried the message of that day, a day when nature's hazards met the resolute spirit of a loyal companion. And together, they forged a path from despair to hope. As winter's chill settled over the forest and the trails lay blanketed in snow, Daniel and Apollo continued their journey. Each step along the frosty path was a testament to their shared resilience and the unbreakable trust that had been forged in the crucible of that fateful day. And in every moment, whether it was the quiet rustle of snow underfoot or the soft glow of a winter sunrise, the memory of that life-saving rescue remained a cherished reminder of what it means to be truly protected by the love of a loyal friend. As the injured hiker, Daniel, was carefully lifted onto a stretcher and carried away by the emergency responders, the forest that had once been a vast, unpredictable wilderness began to exhale a collective sigh of relief. The soft murmur of nature, rustling leaves, distant bird calls, and the gentle trickle of a nearby stream seemed to acknowledge the remarkable chain of events that had unfolded. In the clearing where the rescue had taken place, fellow hikers and park rangers gathered, their faces etched with concern and relief. The vivid memory of the Pitbull, Apollo, racing along the trail with unwavering determination to alert the community, had become an emblem of courage that resonated far beyond that single moment of crisis. In the following days, the story of Apollo's timely intervention spread like wildfire throughout the region. Local news outlets captured the rescue in a series of in-depth reports that highlighted the extraordinary bond between man and dog. Footage from the scene, ranging from the frantic pace of Apollo along the rain-dampened trail to the moment when a park ranger, following the sound of urgent barks, finally discovered Daniel on the rocky path, was shown repeatedly on television. Interviews with the park ranger and fellow hikers revealed a profound sense of community responsibility. One hiker recalled, with a trembling voice full of gratitude, how he had heard Apollo's resolute barks echoing through the dense forest and had immediately joined a group of concerned travelers who, together, set off in search of the distressed hiker. Their shared determination, fueled by Apollo's alertness, had turned what might have been a tragic oversight into a collective, life-saving mission. At the local hospital, where Daniel was treated for a severe leg injury and signs of shock, doctors and nurses spoke about the crucial minutes saved by Apollo's quick thinking. Time was of the essence, remarked one emergency physician, and the fact that a dog was able to sense danger and prompt a rescue in such an isolated location is nothing short of miraculous. It's a reminder that sometimes, our most trusted allies come with 4 legs and a keen sense of purpose. Daniel, though still weak and in pain, later recounted the rescue with a mix of astonishment and gratitude. In a carefully recorded interview, he described how, as he lay unable to move on the cold forest floor, he could faintly hear Apollo's barks and feel the gentle tug of the dog's leash as it led a group of rescuers to his side. "I remember feeling so alone in that vast wilderness," Daniel recalled, "but then, there was Apollo. His unwavering determination was like a guiding light that brought help right to me. I'll be forever thankful for his loyalty." Back in the community, the rescue sparked a transformative dialogue about outdoor safety and the role of service animals. Inspired by Apollo's actions, local authorities, park management, and outdoor enthusiasts organized a series of workshops and safety seminars. These events, held at community centers and local schools, focused on the importance of preparedness when venturing into remote areas. Experts in wilderness safety and animal behavior discussed the unique ways in which pets, particularly well-trained dogs, can serve as early warning systems. They highlighted that, while technology such as emergency call devices and GPS tracking are invaluable, the natural instincts of a loyal animal add an irreplaceable human touch to rescue efforts. Apollo's alertness wasn't just an accident, explained a veteran park ranger during one seminar. It was a testament to the strong bond between a dog and its owner, and a reminder that our furry friends can often do what machines cannot: sense the human need for help. The impact of the incident rippled through local hiking clubs and outdoor organizations as well. Several groups initiated discussions on enhancing trail safety, emphasizing the value of traveling in groups, carrying first aid kits, and ensuring that every hiker had a reliable means of communication. In these meetings, Apollo's heroic run was often cited as a perfect example of the benefits of having a well-trained, instinctively aware companion by one's side. Participants shared stories of how their own dogs had alerted them to minor mishaps, a sudden change in weather, an unexpected animal encounter, or even a faint cry for help from a fellow hiker, and many pledged to invest further in training and safety measures. The community's response was both practical and deeply emotional. Local newspapers featured heartfelt stories and powerful photographs of Apollo in action, capturing the intensity of his focused gaze and the fluidity of his determined stride along the rain-dappled trail. Families and individuals who had once felt isolated in their outdoor adventures now found themselves part of a tightly knit network of mutual support. Social media channels buzzed with posts under hashtags like #ApolloTheGuardian and #TrailHero, with people from neighboring towns sharing their own rescue stories and expressing renewed appreciation for the importance of community vigilance in the wilderness. In academic circles, the rescue became a case study for innovative research into animal-assisted safety protocols. Researchers from nearby universities conducted studies on the olfactory and navigational abilities of dogs, investigating how natural instincts can be harnessed to improve emergency response in remote environments. Preliminary results suggested that dogs, with their highly sensitive sense of smell and intuitive behaviors, could detect not only physical distress but also environmental changes that precede accidents. These findings, discussed at regional conferences and later published in scientific journals, further cemented the notion that the bond between humans and their canine companions is both powerful and life-saving. For Daniel, the physical and emotional scars of that harrowing day gradually began to heal. With extensive physiotherapy and the unwavering support of his community, he slowly regained strength in his injured leg and returned to his passion for hiking. Albeit with a renewed respect for the challenges posed by nature. Every time he embarked on a new trail, he carried with him the memory of that fateful moment, an indelible reminder of the kindness and loyalty embodied by Apollo. In his words, "Every step I take on these trails is a tribute to that day." A reminder that even in the wild, unpredictable world of nature, there is always hope when you have a true friend by your side. Local community events and safety workshops continued to flourish, each one building on the momentum of the rescue and fostering a culture of preparedness and empathy. Children learned in school about the importance of hiking safety and the critical role that service animals play in ensuring that everyone can enjoy the beauty of the wilderness without fear. Adults shared their stories, exchanging practical tips and heartfelt advice on how to stay safe and look out for one another. In every gathering, the image of Apollo, ever watchful, ever loyal, served as a potent symbol of resilience and the strength of community bonds. As the seasons changed and the forest transformed with the arrival of winter, the legacy of that day became a lasting beacon for the entire region. The story of Apollo's heroic intervention was not merely a tale of a single rescue, it evolved into a reminder that, even in the most remote and rugged environments, the connections between people and their animal companions have the power to bridge the gap between despair and hope. In quiet moments on frost-covered trails or around the warmth of a shared campfire, hikers recalled the incredible sight of a determined Pitbull, racing through the wilderness, his barks echoing as a promise that no one would be left to face danger alone. Through it all, the narrative of Apollo's intervention continued to inspire and transform. His actions had not only saved a life that day but had ignited a movement, one that encouraged communities to prioritize safety, to embrace the power of animal intuition, and to celebrate the unbreakable bonds between humans and their four-legged guardians. The legacy of that autumn day, captured in countless interviews, research studies, and social media tributes, became a part of local folklore, a story passed down through generations as a testament to the remarkable capacity for love, loyalty, and courage that lies within every living being. In reflective interviews later that winter, Daniel expressed his gratitude with quiet conviction. "I often think about that moment when Apollo raced down the trail." He said, "It wasn't just his speed or his bark, it was his unyielding determination to ensure I wasn't alone. That help was always within reach. I'll never forget the way he led the rescuers to me, the way his eyes shone with purpose. That day, he reminded me that true heroes are not measured by their size, but by the depth of their loyalty." His words, imbued with the wisdom of someone who had faced the perils of nature head-on, resonated deeply with his community and served as a source of ongoing inspiration. As local authorities implemented improved safety measures and training programs based on the lessons learned from that day, the story of Apollo continued to reverberate throughout the region. Community members began to see every hike not just as an opportunity for adventure, but as a reminder to stay vigilant, to prepare for the unexpected, and to cherish the quiet moments of connection that make life truly meaningful. The tale of Apollo, the trail guardian, stood as a timeless reminder that even in the wild, unpredictable tapestry of nature, there are bonds forged in loyalty and love that can light the darkest paths.